They love their choices. Only 29% of Republicans. All of this gives you a sense of, as the Democrats go into this, a huge advantage. Barack Obama winning the nomination was a huge feat. I cannot tell you how amazing that was, because he didn't run against some group of unknown people. He ran against the toughest people that existed. He was a first-term senator, only 4 years in the Senate. He's African American. He had no policy distinction, and he beat Hillary Clinton, John Edwards, Joe Biden, and he beat Chris Dodd, and he beat Governor Bill Richardson, who had been UN Ambassador, Secretary of Energy. He beat every one of those candidates. Do you realize how impressive it is? There were 7 keys to the Obama victory. First and foremost, he was smart. He wasn't in the United States Senate at the time, but he had the right position on Iraq. So while everybody else was trying to explain their past vote and why they were here or there, he didn't have anything to explain. He just turned around and said, let me explain, and let me just tell you, I opposed Iraq from the start, and this is where I am. Gave him a major advantage. Second thing is, in a period of time that America was looking for hope, a sense of change, a sense of vision, he was young, he represented a new generation, and he got up there and he gave you a vision. And number 3, tactically, he understood things. He got over 1.5 million people to give money to him, right through the internet. And he's raised more money than any candidate ever. Next thing, he understood the process, and he won all the caucuses, and by winning the caucuses, he wound up with 150 more delegates, and that was the difference all the way along. Next thing, stimulated the turnout. African Americans turned out in great numbers, and young people. Finally, every time he got into a tough situation, Reverend Wright being the best example, he showed an inner mettle for himself, a sense of who he was and what was he about, and he never buckled. This guy put together something that we have never seen in the Democratic Party. In all the years that I have been involved, nobody has ever come close to putting together the organization, the money, the moxie, and the skill. Well, let me start to explain and deconstruct some of this. Okay. It's a close election for a lot of reasons. It's a close election first and foremost because Barack Obama's not known. Stop and think about what a hurdle this is. We've never elected an African American. We've never elected somebody who had less experience in terms of internationally or military affairs. This is a huge hurdle. So you have to understand that first and foremost. Let me talk about the 2 candidates if I could. We do something called the feeling thermometer. How do you feel about each candidate? Do you have a positive feeling? Do you have a negative feeling? And as you can see, feelings about Barack Obama, by a margin of 3-2, they're positive. 48% positive, 33% negative. This is less good than he had at the beginning of the primaries, but still impressive. By comparison, McCain's feeling thermometer, not bad, but not impressive. 39% positive, 34% negative. The difference is, independents, Barack Obama is doing far better than John McCain. And when you look at John McCain, you can see his strengths. People see him as knowledgeable, they see him as a strong leader, they see him as having high personal standards, being honest, and as commander-in-chief. All of those things work in his benefit. How is he as an inspirational choice? Only 22% say that describes him. In fact, they say that if he were to give a fireside chat, they worry that the fire would go out in terms of this. How about Barack Obama? Where does he stand? Well, if you look here, there are a host of fabulous qualities. They see him as easygoing and likable. They see him as inspirational, exciting choice, compassionate, change, honest, good standards, and not as good as a strong leader, but not a bad set of numbers. One question he needs to answer: is he safe? And that's what the American public is trying to figure out. And that is, can I trust him? And if they think they can trust him, that's important. What 2008 is about for the American public in the presidential really comes down to three words: transparency. The second thing is authenticity. And the third thing that this country is desperately trying to understand and get to is a sense of unity, a sense that we can, as a country, come together and work in behalf of all. And in the end, it was the words of Thomas Wolfe which really sort of framed this election. Thomas Wolfe being a great American writer back in the 30s and 40s. And he wrote, "You can't go home again. Can't go home to the escapes of time and memory. You can't go home to the old forms and systems, to the things that once seemed everlasting, but are changing all the time. The home to each and every one of us in the future. There is no other way." Thank you very much.